The Lost Child by Mulkraj Anand. Mulkraj Anand was an Indian writer in English, notable for his depiction of the lives of the poor in the traditional Indian society. One of the pioneers of Indo-Anglican fiction, he was the first India-based writer in English to gain an international readership. Anand is admired for his novels and short stories, which have acquired the status of being classical works of modern Indian English literature, noted for their perspective, insight into the lives of the oppressed, and their analysis of impoverishment, exploitation, and misfortune. He is also notable for being among the first writers in incorporate Punjabi and Hindustani idioms into English. Now, the main characters in this story are the lost child himself. He is the central character who gets fascinated with the items at the village spring fair and loses contact with his parents. He becomes heartbroken, loses interest in everything, he cries for his parents. Then we have his parents. They keep on asking the child to remain with them, but are careless enough to lose him at the fair. Then the third character is the person who finds him. He is a very helpful person who tries to distract the child by offering him many things but fails. Now, a short summary of the chapter. In the story, The Lost Child, the author tries to explore the mind of a child. This story also highlights a child's love for his parents. The child goes to the fair with his parents. He is very excited and wants sweets and toys displayed there. His parents don't buy these things for him. But very soon he gets separated from his parents as he is left behind looking at various toys and other things. When he realizes that his parents are nowhere near him, he starts crying unconsolably. He refuses everything which is offered by others. He wants his parents and keeps crying. Let us now move on to the lesson. The Lost Child. A child goes to a fair with his parents. He is happy and excited and wants the sweet and toys displayed there. But his parents don't buy them for him. Why then does he refuse when someone else offers them to him? It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. So this para says that it was the festival of spring and everyone was in a happy mood. All were going to the fair. The child is going to the fair with his parents. He is very happy and excited. On the way to the fair, the child enjoys every moment and gets fascinated towards natural beauty. "Come, child, come," called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old, cold stare of refusal in their eyes. "I want that toy," he pleaded. His father looked at him red-eyed, in his familiar tyrant's way. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, was tender, and giving him her finger to hold, said, "Look, child, what is before you?" The little child was excited because he was visiting the fair. This journey to the fair was overwhelming. On the way, he was often attracted by things which he witnessed. In the fair, he was attracted by the toys displayed in the shop. He wanted to buy the toys, but his parents refused to buy them. And his mother actually turned his attention towards a mustard field. It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold as it swept across miles and miles of even land. A group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy purple wings, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze, till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch. But it would go flapping up into the air when he had almost caught it in his hands. Then his mother gave a cautionary call. "Come, child, come onto the footpath." He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. "Come, child, come," his parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. But lo, he heard the cooing of doves, and ran towards his parents, shouting, "The dove, the dove!" The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. "Come, child, come," they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers round the banyan tree, and gathering him up, they took the narrow, winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. The child was attracted by the dragonflies, butterflies, and other insects and worms that he found, and he was often left behind. And the parents would always caution him, saying, "Come, child, come," and he would soon join the parents. So the parents went ahead and they sat under the shade of a tree. So while reaching to the parents, he found there was a flower tree, and the petals were falling down, and child opened his hands to collect those petals. It was a gulmohar tree, and when he was collecting the petals that were falling, he also saw that two doves were sitting on the branch of the tree. He was so excited to see those doves, and he ran and informed his parents. So while he was running towards his parents, he forgot to hold his petals nicely, and it fell from his hand. Again the parents got up from the shade of the tree, and then they began to walk towards the fair through the field of mustards. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. A sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets, decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open-eyed at his mouth watered for the barfi that was his favorite sweet. "I want that barfi," he slowly murmured. But he half knew as he begged that his plea would not be heeded, because his parents would say he was greedy. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So as they entered the fair, they could see sweet shops on both sides of the roads. Several types of sweets were displayed there, like gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi, etc. The child wanted to eat them. His favorite sweet was barfi. His mouth watered. He asked his parents, but his parents paid no attention to his request. And he was also scared to pester because he knew that they would call him greedy. So he went without waiting for an answer from the parents. He went ahead. A flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, "I want that garland." But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So next he saw a vendor was selling gulmohar garland and he went towards that. He saw it very beautiful and he wanted to have one of those garlands. But he just murmured in a soft voice. Parents could not hear, "I want that garland." And he knew very well that if he asked his parents to buy for him, they would refuse. And they would tell him that those flowers are so cheap, it would not last long. So he went ahead without waiting for an answer from his parents. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green and purple balloons flying from it. Child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. So next he saw a man selling balloons of different colors, and the child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of the colors of those balloons, and he wanted to have at least one of those balloons. But he knew that his parents would say that he was now grown up, he was not a child to play with balloons. So he walked ahead. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. So next he saw a snake charmer playing his bean, and a snake was in the basket. The snake raised its head in a graceful manner, and the neck was looking like the neck of a swan. And while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. So the snake charmer was playing the bean, the music, and the snake was actually moving according to the music. The child went towards the snake charmer, but he knew that his parents had forbidden him, means told him not to hear such coarse music what the snake charmer played. So although he liked the music of the snake charmer, he wanted to stay there and listen to it, but he knew that his parents would not like it, so he had to proceed ahead. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women and children, carried away in a whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently and then he made a bold request. "I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother." So finally the child saw a roundabout, merry-go-round, where men, women and children they were playing. The child watched them intently and then he wanted to join them also to play the merry-go-round. So this time he did not murmur, he spoke loudly. He took courage and he spoke loudly. He told his parents that he wanted to have a ride in the merry-go-round. So the remaining portions will continue in the next class.